it's really too early for all of this. Anyway, we got a new order of t-shirts in. Super cool artwork on these things. I'm so stoked to give them away and give away stuff and sponsor material. We're trying to get all this packed up. We got an event in a couple of weeks. But anyway, I learned something over the weekend, and that is that Corvettes are a very polarizing topic in drifting. But anyway, I figured that I would grab a camera and talk about it. It's fresh on my mind. I was just thinking about this, and I had a lot of conversations over the weekend with other Corvette drivers and thought that I would just make a video and talk about it because I get a lot of questions from non-drivers, and then I've heard a lot of opinions from drivers. And so I thought we could break that down for just a second. So kind of an impromptu deal. Like I said, I just kind of learned about this over the weekend. It's no secret that a lot of people have opinions on Corvettes. Just for reference, I've only driven my car one time. We took it to Midpond over the weekend. I've got 3 days, probably 150 laps in the thing. And so my opinion is relative for whatever that's worth. You know, we're going to talk about the good and we're going to talk about the bad and just kind of go from there. So firstly, the bad, like the first thing that's bad about the car is the price, right? It's definitely kind of the upper crust of what you're going to pay for a toy, for a drift car. Now, that being said, you do get a lot more out of the car for that because you end up with, you know, 400 horsepower and a 6-speed and a transaxle and like a really lightweight car that has a lot of R&D into it to make it good. And so I think that that kind of justifies that. But furthermore, the cost of just prepping one of these cars is really high. The cars are relatively fragile. The things that you need in order to kind of bulletproof them and make them reliable, there's a long list of that, and it's all really expensive. Transaxle braces, the transaxles will like flex under load and will literally like rip bell housings off the transmission. I've seen that happen. That's the first thing. Those are expensive and they're a huge pain in the ass. Torque tubes, if you have a higher mileage car, probably need to be rebuilt. Clutches, it's also a pretty well-known fact on this that the factory clutches just don't hold up well to drifting. So, you know, clutch upgrades is something that you need to do. The diffs break. The clutches and the diff are, you know, known for going out again under like sustained stress and like clutch kicks and things like that. And so that's something else that you need as a spool adapter. And again, it's really not all that expensive. It's just a pain in the ass because the way the cars are designed to get that in the car. Steering rack braces, because the steering rack mounts will literally crack in half. Things like that. Another thing that's different about them is that you need angle in the car. It's not like a 350Z or a BMW or a 240 that you can drive with no angle. Like the cars have like 10 degrees or 15 degrees of factory steering angle. Like you need angle in the car to do that. If you know you're an advanced driver, you're going to need to buy an e-brake because the stock one just won't work. So these things all start to kind of add up. I think I've got around $5,000 and just prepping the car, and like that's not even including like a steering wheel and a seat and coilovers. Like my car's on stock suspension, which I'm going to get to that later. Kind of the cost bracket of the bad stuff. The cooling systems are 110% inadequate. Like they will not hold up to sustained drifting. We got there, I immediately pulled the hood off my car thinking that would help, and it didn't. You know, and I've got a cooler thermostat in the car. My fans are on a switch. It didn't make a difference. The car ran hot pretty much all weekend. So there's that. Pretty much all the bad stuff. The good stuff, I think, far outweighs it, right? It's a shorter list, but I think it's more important stuff. The cars are super intuitive. Like, it was doing what I asked for it all weekend long. It was pretty easy to figure out. They make really good torque. The gear ratios are good. You know, they're comfortable to drive. And I have a really good feeling of what that car is going to do. It wasn't doing anything, you know, crazy. I would make the statement that they are pro-am competitive basically right off the bat. Like, they make good power, they make good torque, all that good stuff. These are all well-known factors. What gets me is that people say that they're hard to drive. And I don't think that at all. And keep in mind, I drove mine on stock suspension all weekend. Another plus is that this is one of the few cars that you can drive on stock suspension and it's not a total waste of time. You know, it did some weird stuff. It was kind of floaty and some things were binding up or whatever, but like it was not the end of the world. It was not as terrible as you would think it would be. It was like driving a car on bad coilovers. Like it's still better than a stock car. And so I would say that. But you know, again, back to this point that people say that they're really hard to drive. It's well documented that people have had this opinion. And I think that where that stems from is the fact that the cars make so much mechanical grip. It's really impressive, okay? And it requires a style of driving that has a lot of commitment in what you're doing.
Not a Corvette person. I've struggled to adapt to the Corvette chassis. The amount of forward the car has, the lack of side bite.
You have to stay committed and you have to use all of the car really to make it work the right way. What I would compare that to is driving a low horsepower car. Now, in today's day and age, a lot of people start in cars like 350Zs and E46s and V8 Mustangs and things like that. So the days of the twin cam heroes and the Miata drivers and the SR20 cars, stock SR20 cars, are kind of in the past, because we have such a bigger pool of cars to choose from with support nowadays. Drivers nowadays that really didn't learn that discipline of having to drive at 100% all the time. The Corvette kind of requires that. Again, because of the R&D and the amount of work that went into that chassis, like, it's a very impressive amount of grip and like forward drive that the car has. There's certain situations for an S chassis or a Z chassis, you can just kind of let off the gas and let the car kind of like float to where you want and then get back on the gas. Corvettes just simply won't do that. If you want to move the car around the track or change your line, you have to like drive the car to that point. You have to like point it where you want to and then like use the car to get there. There's no floating. The second that you let off the gas on that car, it's really wanting to kind of start to straighten up and kind of do weird stuff. And I found myself understeering really bad because of that. But once you kind of learn that, like, it just requires a lot of commitment, that solved a lot of my problems. And I think that that's good. Like, you can literally drive yourself out. If you overshoot something and you're about to drive off track, point the car in the direction you want to go and stand on the gas, and it'll go that direction. Of course, the bad part of that is that if you're driving a car like that that's fully committed, like it's really aggressive driving style, which is great, and I think it makes you a better driver. I think it's going to make me a better driver. The problem with that is that the car makes 400 foot-pounds of torque, 400 horsepower. So now things start to happen really quickly, especially because you're having to kind of stay pinned on it. And again, in my opinion, this is a good thing. I firmly believe that this car has a lot to teach me. I feel like this is going to make me a better driver over time. And I think it's a good option for anybody. I think that it's a different discipline of driving that you kind of have to adhere yourself to. And I am really excited for it. Nowadays, people drive, a low horsepower car for 6 months and think that they need more power. I drove a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder car for 6 years before I got to the point that I thought that car didn't have anything else to teach me. So I am super stoked to have this at my disposal now, because I can probably drive this for like the next 10 or 12 years before I get bored with it. You know what I mean? It's just, it has so much to teach me. And I think that is the kind of the key element of the car and what makes them good. And of course they're Chevys. They're pretty robust for what they are. They're going to start, like, if you overheat it, it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to kind of take that. In that aspect of it, they're built very tough. So, like I said, I had heard a lot of opinions about this. This was just my opinion that I thought I would sit down and kind of talk about today, because I thought that was interesting. I've never heard such a divided, animated conversation as I had with a few people over the weekend about this. And so I thought I'd put it out there, because I don't know if other people think the same way or not. But that's just my opinion for what it's worth. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll have a video next week, and until then, you guys give them hell.